Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Barbie Experience podcast. I am your host, Isabel Dieppa, also known as Isa, also known as Roller Skate Barbie. If you are new, welcome. This podcast explores our experiences with the one and only Barbie. Perhaps you owned Barbies as a kid or borrowed Barbies from your siblings or cousins, or were forced to play with Barbies with your siblings or cousins. Whatever the experience, this podcast is looking into learning more of how people learned and lived with Barbie. I will be interviewing writers, actors, influencers, and many more on what it was like for them growing up with Barbie. We'll be discussing Barbie's legacy, favorite dolls, of course, and why Barbie has become such an icon. Today's guest is a novelist, indie rocker, director, and comic book writer. You may have read some of her work, which includes the Plain Jane comics, Shade, the Changing Girl, Batgirl, The Female Furies. She also wrote a Star Wars novel, Star Wars Moving Target, Queen of the Cool, and her newest graphic novel, Shifting Earth, and many more titles. Thank you. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm very excited to be here to talk about Barbie.
Me too. So I know, we're just going to dive right in because we have spoken before. I've interviewed you for a few of your comic book stuff. So I'm super excited because aside from being a big Barbie nerd, I am also a comic book nerd. And I know that you are also both of those, which makes it even more, it's like two fandoms marrying each other and meeting in the middle. So what, as a child, I'm guessing that you played with Barbies. And if you played with Barbies, at what age do you remember starting to play with Barbies?
I don't remember a time where there wasn't a Barbie in my life. I feel like I had baby dolls, but then I want to say like when I was around 4 or 5, probably my first Barbie entered into my life. I'm not 100% certain which one that was, but the one that I remember the most, or like most vividly, is either Superstar Barbie or Ballerina Barbie. Mm-hmm. So probably those. But I think I had inherited some Barbies from like a babysitter across the street or something. Somebody unloaded some of their Barbies onto me, and then the collection grew.
That is amazing. Now, did you ever stop playing with Barbies?
I did. It's funny because I actually had to get rid of my Barbies because I couldn't stop playing with them. And I got to be like, headed towards high school. And I started to feel like some shame about it, and it's funny because I think about it and I think like, I didn't feel like that about my Star Wars action figures. Those I still have, and those I kept, and it was like not a problem. But there was something about the Barbies. Like I had this big like toy trunk full of Barbies, and because I couldn't quit, and I was like, applying for high schools and stuff, like 12, 13 years old, I was like, I got to get rid of these. So I gave the entire trunk to my my neighbor next door, and that is, I still think about that because I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I get rid of all of those Barbies? But I really felt like there was this line between being a little girl and growing up, becoming a teenager, and that for me, Barbie was the line. Like if I was still playing with Barbies, then I was a little girl. And so I got rid of them, and I still feel pain about that.
I know. I feel the same way. I was playing with Barbies until I was 15 years old. And it was the same thing. I was like, all right, it's that time. I have to like get rid of my Barbies. And like my Barbies were in pristine condition
Mhm.
because my mom was like very strict about like if I did not take care of my toys growing up, that she would like throw them away and not buy me any ever again. So like when I turned 15, I did the same thing. Like I gave the dolls away to other girls in my neighborhood. And I think actually what you just said about the Star Wars figures is so fascinating. And that's actually like one of the things I really want to explore with this
Mhm.
podcast is why is it, do you think that Barbie has been associated so much? I mean, not just that it's for girls, but it's for childhood. And for some reason, you have to leave it behind at a certain point. But we don't treat Star Wars or Batman or like anything that, or even like GI Joes for that matter, in the same way. Why is that?
I mean, I'm sure that somebody's written a PhD thesis about that. But I mean, I think that I think that maybe could be that like Barbie's. I think when you grow up in a patriarchy and you have a toy that is telling you um, how to practice being a woman in that patriarchal society, um, and if you're a little bit of a rebel, I think that it becomes very complicated. And I think that it's not only a way to either break and move with the patriarchy or break away from the patriarchy. I think in some way, I think it kind of serves both things. But like I said, I'm sure someone's written a PhD thesis about it. And I think that like maybe with the action figures, it's that, when you're thinking about action figures, it's so rooted in another world, not in the day to day. And I think especially with Barbies, especially in the 70s and 80s when I was playing with Barbies, it was very much about, prescribing a role that you could have, right? I mean, they didn't have astronaut Barbie when I was growing up, it was like superstar Barbie, fashion Barbie, quick curls Barbie, so to keep my action figures where it was like, well, I'm in outer space. And, I think I've said this before in other interviews, like when I would play Star Wars, I would sometimes gender swap the roles and be Hana Solo, instead. So, and I don't think that I could do that as easily with, with my Barbies.
That's super fascinating. Well, and I think like one of the things that had come up in another conversation that I had in the first episode is how like with Barbie, it is kind of a blank slate, right? And so it's like we don't have like a set story. Like it's there's not a lot of stories that are rooted. Like Barbie was created as a doll at first, and I think that the first actual movie didn't happen until Barbie and the Rockers, which I have the Barbie and the Rockers shirt on. But so that was like in the 80s later. And so storytelling doesn't really become a part of Barbie until much later in like her existence. But it's given to us, and I think it's very interesting because like it's a blank slate. So it's kind of like what you had just said right now about how you can join in on the patriarchy or you can also kind of push against it. Or sometimes like even with the circumstances, like I never owned a Ken. Like I think I may have had one Ken doll in my life. So like all my Barbies were gay. Like if I did love stories, they were like in love with each other. And no one ever like bat an eye against that. And so and my family like didn't even like, they are a lot more progressive now, but like growing up they didn't really like come around to like talk about stuff like that. So it's kind of like I think that there's so much room in that of like, it's all about like your imagination, and you can put your own stories onto it, and it kind of depends on the like, I guess like the elasticity of the play, and like even what you were saying that like astronaut Barbie didn't come around until a little later. So it's like Barbie has had so many careers, and there was like a Barbie president before we still have not had a female president.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, look, as a storyteller, I think doll playing was like so essential to honing my craft, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that a lot of when I scroll back and try to remember like what my games were, you know, I had elaborate, ongoing, weeks long stories, you know, with the Barbies. And a lot of it was about female friendship, you know? And I did have a Ken, I think a Malibu Ken, but he
Poor
wasn't very
kid.
interesting to me. I always had her date the Bionic Man and GI Joe because GI Joe's beard was better, and like you know, Steve Austin was like hot, you know, like that Bionic guy, you know. So and like you know and I had the Bionic Woman and I had a Cher doll and you know the Sunshine Family, like I had a lot of different you know grown up lady dolls and gentleman dolls from different different things that
Genres.
yeah that to me were more sort of like who Barbie was going to date, you know, like but I think mostly because it was mostly girl dolls that I had, it was more about, you know, sort of what do female relationships mean, you know, mothers, daughters, you know, Cher was always the mother because she was an awkward size.
Yeah.
She didn't fit into anybody else's clothes. And I liked that the Sunshine Family, I don't know if you remember this. I know this is about Barbie, but to me they're all the same. So the Sunshine Family was this like 70s hippie dolls, you know, and I love them. One of the things that I loved about the Sunshine Family, which figured into my Barbie play, was that there was like a grandma and grandpa Sunshine families with like
Mhm.
gray hair. And so like there was this sort of generational thing that could happen as well with the Barbies. Sometimes they had careers, sometimes it was all about family. I think it was a way for me and everybody to explore different possibilities of what your future could look like.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and it's funny, I think that, Barbie, and also in a way, has become kind of, you know how, like, Kleenex is a brand, but, like, we say Kleenex for everything, even with, like, puffs, we're like, "Give me some." I feel like Barbie has kind of turned into, like, a general brand of, like, dolls, because
Yeah,
I feel like growing up, definitely, like, I also had other dolls that were not necessarily Barbie, but it was like,
right.
"Pick up all your Barbies."
Right,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I think another thing I just wanted to mention was that like one doll that like really always captured my imagination was the growing up Skipper doll, which
oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, she was controversial.
but like, you know, it's like you would twist her arm and her boobs would come out. And like
Yeah.
a young girl who was like desperately waiting for breasts, you know, like that was just this sort of fascinating practice of growth.
Okay, so I know this is a Barbie podcast, but also, have you seen the trailer for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret?
Yeah, that's what I just watched it, and that's what made me think about it because
Yeah,
I used to, you know, I used to
same.
we must increase our bust all over the place, you know. Um,
They never came. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
tried so hard.
I wished a little too hard, but you know what? I'll take them because I wish so hard for them. But yeah, so yeah, I think also it was really helpful though to have like the you know the Bionic Woman doll who would interact with my Barbies because you know and also I think maybe one of the reasons why the ballerina Barbie really was important to me was I was a very serious you were a dancer too, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I was a very serious ballet dancer when I was young. You know, I was going to ballet like 5 times a week and stuff. So for me, like the you know, the ballet Barbie was me practicing a profession that I thought I could have. But what I liked about the bionic Barbie is that she was a superhero. And that was like kind of the other thing because I was obsessed with Star Wars, obsessed with Princess Leia. I don't remember there being Princess Leia Barbie when I was growing up, but there
Yeah.
definitely was one when I got a little bit older. And as soon as I saw it, I bought that right away. She's been my tree topper for like the past 20 years.
Oh my God, that's amazing. For a minute, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wait, are you talking about the like new collector one? There was another Princess Leia doll?
Yeah, there was a Princess Leia. It was a princess. I think it was a Mattel. I think it was a Princess Leia Barbie. It could have been
Oh,
Kenner.
no, I believe you. I'm just kind of
Yeah,
like, oh, I did
yeah.
not know that.
It was like a proper doll.
Yeah.
Um, and it was Princess Leia. Maybe it came out when like the special editions came out, like in the 90s.
Mhm.
But anyway, but that was probably one of the first Barbies, if it was a Barbie, I don't really know, that I bought again to sort of restart my collection. And yeah, I've got like the new fashion Princess Leia's and like the
Mhm.
Princess Leia as Chewbacca, the Princess Leia,
Yes.
I mean the Chewbacca Barbie and the the Princess Leia fashion Barbies, and I got them all. I'm in love and obsessed with the new um sort of signature line of Barbies that they do.
Mhm.
I buy as many of those as I possibly can.
Oh, same. I would say that like I think that what really got me back into collecting Barbies specifically was the pandemic. And my gateway drug was the Princess Leia Barbie doll. Because I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I regret I did not get the R2D2 doll because I really wanted her. And now she's like $200 online. And I'm like, damn, I have to like
Whoa.
try to find a way to get her.
I have like the David Bowie. I'm just looking. I've got the David Bowie. I've got the Sally Ride. I've got all the Wonder Woman ones.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I've got a I don't know if it's Barbie or not, but I've got a Batgirl one. I've got the Leia. Oh, I have like the Queen Amidala ones from Padme, the Queen Amidala from Star Wars Episode 1. I don't know if I don't know if they were Barbies or not, but whatever. They're like the movable, posable sort of dolls. I've got the Star Trek collection. It's like the cast of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've got. I like the Barbies. I
I
like.
want to see your Barbie room. You what?
It's not a Barbie room. It's just like I just have them like up on top of like little shelves and stuff. But I keep because they're so awkward. I'm like, what? I don't know where to put them. They're, I'm not. I don't have like. I have too many books to have shelves dedicated to Barbie, so they're just kind of like, you know, on shelves on the top of shelves and stuff. But
Well,
one thing that I do like is I like I like the idea of I don't have them all in boxes as well. Like I actually pull some of them are in boxes, but I actually pull them out and just have them sitting on shelves too.
yeah, see, okay, usually the only time I take them out of my boxes is if the box arrives crushed. Like,
Mhm.
so this was a line, this is actually one of my new favorite lines. I don't know if you've seen these. These are the Barbie Rewind dolls. They so basically they're like they are not replicas, but they use the face molds and fashion from the 80s. So like they're all like 80s style dolls. And so she's clearly supposed to be like Barbie and the Rockers kind of homage.
Mhm.
So I actually got two of her because when she arrived at first, her box was crushed. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna take her out of the box and then I'm gonna get another one to keep her in the box. But like I'm one of those crazy collectors that if I have to take it out of the box, I'm gonna buy another one to have it in the box as well.
I think I did that for the Princess Leia. I did. I'm looking. I've got one that I have out because I was going to put, I was like, oh, maybe I'll update my tree topper, and then the other one I have in a box up on my. I'm looking up at my shelf, up on my shelf. Um, yeah, but I mean, and I guess like the you know, some, I mean, other than that, no, I just have one. And I guess one day when I get a palace or my Barbie dream house, but the Cecil dream house, then I'll have a toy room that'll have like everything organized, all my action figures, all my hockey bobbleheads, all my, all my Barbies, all my toys, all my comics.
Yes. I think that you would appreciate this. So in my living room, so behind me, I have some of my Barbies. The rest are in my bedroom. But on the other side of my living room, where the camera is not shown, I have all my Star Wars collection.
Yeah.
So it's just like Star Wars and Barbie.
Yeah. I mean, I like collecting things, but I'm not so precious about them that I mean, when I have kids over, if the dolls are out of the box, I'll
Oh,
throw them all on the floor and let some kid play with them, because it's like, you know, they should be played with.
yeah, absolutely. No, that gives me some Toy Story vibes for sure. Like sometimes I definitely I feel you on that. And like, yeah, totally. So how would you, I mean, we've talked a little bit about your experience with Barbies. How would you say that playing with Barbies has impacted you? You spoke a little bit about how it impacted you as a storyteller. Was there anything from that experience that you kind of took with you into adulthood, or like maybe like in your writing or anything like that?
I mean, I can't think of one specific thing, but absolutely, because I mean, the whole point of my play with Barbies was to have these like weeks long, epic, long sagas that would span decades, in Barbie's life. Um, and I think that was part of my practice, my first stabs at world building, and like, sort of trying to come up with epic stories. So while I can't specifically say like, oh, this book that I wrote was this saga that I played with Barbie, I could say that that was the one thing that I didn't quit, right? Like, even when I had to get rid of all of my Barbies, I didn't quit still making up stories. And so in a way, Barbie was she was my training wheels for that. And so, yeah, that's what I think. That was the impact that it had to me. It was my first sketches.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit earlier. I really loved what you were talking about, that it can have the positive, or also like you can go into the patriarchy. And I think that some of the negative parts of Barbie has been, a lot of criticism as far as like body image, and like, girls having like non realistic standards of beauty
Mhm.
because of the way that Barbie was, especially, in the 80s and 90s, like when we grew up. Like for you, did you have any negative experiences with Barbie?
I mean, I don't really think I did have any negative experiences with her in terms of like, I didn't have body dysmorphia or anything like that because of Barbie, because she was a doll and not, like, I could tell that she wasn't real and that she didn't, correctly reflect, the world. I mean, I remember one of my friend's moms had been a flight attendant, a stewardess at the time, and she looked like a Barbie, like exactly like a Barbie. Um, but I think the thing that was sort of more limiting for me was, you know, her 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 being very much like, this is the kind of woman you're supposed to be. And I think that even though I had trouble quitting playing Barbie. I think that that was more harmful to me, was this idea that like, well, like, I'm glad that I got rid of them and let go of it, because it wasn't going in a direction that I that I sort of felt for myself. I mean, I had the gold medal Barbie. I could certainly see myself winning a gold medal, for
Yeah.
something, or the ballet Barbie, but like superstar Barbie, or like, I don't know, fashion Barbie, or whatever, wasn't really my thing. But I did like I had I had a lot of the accoutrements as well, right? Like I had the townhouse that my mom got me at
Mhm.
a a thrift sale, like a yard sale, and I got the camper, and I got the airplane. There was a Barbie airplane, and
Yeah.
um and for me, I think the Barbie airplane came with her being like a
A
flight
pilot.
attendant.
Was she a flight? I thought she was a pilot. Well,
No,
maybe
was
she
she?
was later a pilot.
I don't.
She's been a pilot before. I don't know if at that time they had her being a pilot.
I'm maybe 1970s. I'm gonna say maybe not, but because I remember there being a little tray with.
Okay.
I remember there being a little tray and a little cute outfit, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but now I want to Google it. But anyway, but I use those things for adventure, right? It was like, um I was glad that I had the townhouse Barbie, because it was like, yes, clearly she lives in New York, and like has like a, New York fabulous apartment on the Upper West Side. And like, of course she has a plane. She jets off to Paris, and goes to world traveling. And like, of course she has a camper because she's adventurous, and like perhaps hangs out with Indiana Jones. I don't know, like that kind of that kind of thing. Now I totally want to like Google like what like the I don't even know what you would call it, airplane Barbie.
I guess that the question would be like, when was Pilot Barbie invented? Because I think she probably came about a little later. I think Pilot Barbie doesn't come around until like the 90s or early 2000s-ish.
Barbie. Okay, hold please. When was Pilot
I was
Barbie?
gonna say, what
19,
was Pilot Barbie?
1989, I think.
Oh,
I don't know. Mattel Pilot Bar. Yeah, 89. It looks like 89, but I'm not sure. Barbie Pilot. I mean, maybe she was, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like when I was growing up, she didn't have very many careers, you know.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's also kind of like, it's interesting because that is one thing that I would say that like the Barbie brand and Mattel has become super, super aware of, is like the points where she did not do as well. They have tried to fix that. So like they definitely like, she has had the most careers, I think, than
Mhm.
like any other like fashion doll. And also like they are the most diverse doll ever. Like as far as like body, they have like different size Barbies. They
Mhm.
have like the widest skin ranges, because before it was just like they would have a black Barbie, but she wasn't that dark. And now they have like a lot deeper tones, and they have a short Barbie, which I was very excited for because I am 5'2", and like
Yeah, I remember seeing that when they came out with the short Barbies and stuff. Yeah, it looks like the plane oops, came out in the 1970s. That's the one that I had.
oh, okay.
It
And was
was,
she a stewardess then?
I think she was a stewardess. Yeah, a flight attendant. I think she was
Okay.
a flight attendant in that. But
Okay.
yeah, but really it was just she was on her private plane jetting off to like, do her fabulous things. Um anyway, sorry, I got distracted by that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and it doesn't matter. I mean, the fact is that yeah, she is much more diverse now. I'm trying to think. I feel like I had one of those dolls. Was her name Christy or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, one of her, well, I think so the first black doll. I believe her name was Christy. And she comes out in the 70s,
Yeah.
around the same time as Superstar Barbie.
Yeah, I think I had a Christy, and I also had one of her friends that was named PJ. I had a PJ.
I don't remember PJ. I know Christy. I know Teresa.
I didn't have Teresa. I had a Christy, and I had a PJ, and I had a Skipper, and I
Okay.
had a Ken, who was like the fifth boyfriend, after Bionic Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So, of your current dolls, who would you say is your favorite Barbie?
That's a hard one, my friend. I think I'm gonna go with Wonder Woman.
Which one?
The one from the movie, the one from the movie, that the first movie.
The first movie. Okay. Because there's a couple. There's the Wonder Woman from the first movie. There's one from the Batman versus Superman movie. There is the 1984 Barbie as well with the white dress. And then there was like, I found this on eBay a few days ago, but there's this like it was an STCC exclusive that looks phenomenal. Like she just has like this, she has this huge shield and like this like long it's like her skirt, but instead of like the front part just like hitting mid thigh, it like hits the floor. It's
Mhm.
yeah, it's gorgeous. It's super cool.
Yeah, no, I got the whole set. It was like Wonder Woman and Hippolyta and the other lady. Like it's like all three,
Uh-huh.
and they're just so mighty and beautiful that I think I love them. And then after that, I would say my Sally ride. You know, because that's like real astronaut Barbie. You know.
Oh yes. Oh my, absolutely. I love actually, I think that's a really cool series, the series of inspiring women that
Yeah.
Barbie has.
Yeah.
They have had so many, and some women that I didn't even know who they were until I saw the doll and I was like, who's this person? I didn't know this person existed.
Yeah, I would probably buy a lot more, except sometimes I have poverty. And so it's like, well, I can't get that one because, but I mean, like, one time I remember I got the Frida Kahlo Barbie, but not
Mhm.
for me. I got it from one of my goddaughters. And because I wanted, because she was really into Barbies, and I really wanted to get them a Barbie that was not like your typical Barbie.
Mhm.
So I got them that one, but it was hard because I was like, I cannot afford to buy two. I can only buy one.
Yeah.
Goodbye. you know. So yeah, I would probably get more. And then sometimes I actually, if like a movie comes out, I'm like, oh, I hope they make a Barbie for this. And then I look and then I'm like, well, why didn't they make a Barbie for that? I mean,
Yeah.
my dream would be, they had this thing. I made one for my friend for a birthday. They used to, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have this thing where you could like custom build your own Barbie.
I don't know if you can do that at the FAO Schwartz store in New York, but I think that's the only place because I've never seen that anywhere else.
Okay, so this was a thing in the 90s, and you could go onto the internet and like you could choose her hair color and her outfit, and like like you could sort of custom make it. So I made one for a friend. But like I would love to, like, if I were to custom make my own Barbie, I would love to, there would be two. I would like to custom make a Shade the Changing Girl Barbie, because I think that Shade would make an excellent Barbie.
Yes.
She already has like the pink madness kind of flair to her. She's Barbie pink friendly.
And her clothes would be so cool. She would have
So
the coolest wardrobe.
yes, and then I would love a big Barda Barbie. I think that would be
Oh,
a really cool one.
I know that would be really cool. I'm kind of sad that the New Gods movie is not happening
No, I
anymore.
know. Or the Batgirl movie, or yeah.
Oh yeah, let's not. Okay, the back. That's like a whole other. I'm very angry over that. I have feelings. I have very strong feelings.
I wanted to say another thing about Barbie that was a big part of my experience, and a big like bonding thing, I think, with my mom, is that, we didn't have like tons and tons of money. We had some, but not a lot, and so like I wanted all the Barbie clothes, and I could not get all the Barbie clothes. And so my mom used to make the Barbie clothes because McCall's, would have like these Barbie, Barbie patterns. And
Yeah.
so my mom made like a lot of our clothes, not just for my Barbies, but for me. And then with the scraps of fabric that she would have, she would make me these beautiful, like just beautiful dresses. And I remember at first I was kind of like, look, this isn't store bought. But then like all my friends would be like, "Oh, that's such can my Barbie wear that dress?" And then I was kind of like, "Yeah, that's right. I got cool stuff and I can have it in any color. I don't have to have just one, thing." So just shout out to my mom for making all those gorgeous Barbie dresses for me.
That's amazing. And I think that that's another part that I think is very special about, I mean, playing with dolls and toys in general, but I do think Barbie kind of has that, because like I know for a point for us it was also the same thing. My mom made Barbie clothes because like she couldn't afford to buy all the packs,
Mhm.
and it made it that much more special
Yeah.
because it's like you have a unique one of a kind,
Yeah.
mommy design dress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or, thanks to the patterns that whatever came up with. But like it was fun because then like I would remember going to my mom's basket of scrap fabrics, and my mom would be like, okay, which dress from this pattern thing would you like, which fabrics would, so it was kind of like I got to go shopping, and like you know uh so yeah, so I thought that was really great.
I love that. Okay, so this year I'm very, very excited. The new Barbie movie is going to come out, and we don't know much about it because only the teaser came out last month. It came out at the beginning of January or at the end of December. I don't even remember now. It came out the same weekend that Avatar opened, so I think it came
A
out.
few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, and do you have any expectations on the Barbie movie?
You know, Greta Gerwig is like hit or miss with me. Like, I'm not. I think she's okay. Like, so I'm not the kind of person that like runs to go see a Greta Gerwig film. Um, but that teaser trailer kind of nailed it, and I was like, huh, this could be a whole new relationship with me and Greta Gerwig. It felt like she really got it, and I hope that it keeps that kind of irreverence in it. And I mean, like, I think Greta Gerwig is a great director. Like, I mean, I think she's super solid. She's just not always to my taste, but
Yeah.
I do feel like she has been sort of I mean, she's a smart lady, and I think that she definitely has a take, and I hope that the teaser is indicative of that take, and that it's not like a bait and switch,
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel like watching the teaser trailer, what got me really excited over it. First of all, I enjoyed the homage to cinema and
Mhm.
how it's like I do feel like when they first announced they were going to make a Barbie movie, that everybody kind of rolled their eyes. And I think a part of it has to do with, I'm going to say, like, the stigma of Barbie, because like Barbies are considered for little girls. So it's like, is this going to be a little kid movie? What type of movie is this? Is it going to be like the movie Life Size with Tyra Banks, except Barbie?
Right.
And when I saw the teaser trailer, I was already excited for the Barbie movie beforehand, even though I don't know, like, I'm not on the WB list, so I don't know like anything about the movie. Um, I am even more excited because I think that they are tapping into the history. So they are tapping into like, that like that with them opening of before there were baby dolls and then you get Barbie. I think from what I've seen, I'm hoping that they're gonna like explore, how much of a cultural icon she is, but also like the camp. And like I'm like, this is like I expected a campy movie, and I'm really hoping for like an extra campy movie. And the teaser has delivered that of like, dancing and a lot of pink and a lot of sparkles, and that is something that I was really, really, it got me even more hyped up for the film. So I don't know. So I kind of feel like, to me, I think that this is going to be kind of like a Legally Blonde, where it's, and like the movie is Legally Blonde, where in the sense that it is Elle Woods, where it's smart, but it's also dressed as like, being sparkly and pink, but it's an intelligent film.
I mean, I think the good news is that Greta Gerwig is very smart, and so I think that I think it will be a very, very smart. I think it will be very, very smart. And I mean, it doesn't matter what direction she goes into. I'm there opening day.
Yeah. Oh my God, exactly. Yes.
It doesn't really matter. And I think that's the really great thing too, is that, if this Barbie, there's room for so many different kinds of Barbie movies, that like, if this movie is one way, there's I think it opens up the door for other approaches to Barbie. And I think that that's wonderful, because like you said, Barbie is a cultural icon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on, which is on this topic of Barbie, because you are a storyteller and because you have such a love of like geekdoms and fandoms. Like, so I'm a Barbie collector, and oftentimes people think of Barbie collectors as just collectors, but I would say that I'm a Barbie fan versus just being a collector. Do you like, how is it that we can kind of shift the zeitgeist to see like Barbie as this, I guess, this IP that can have this large fandom where, people are excited for this movie and hopefully other movies as well?
I mean, I think the thing with Barbie is that she serves two purposes, right? She's definitely still a major part of children's play, and so she has to continue serving as an ambassador to children's play in that way. But I think that Barbie has been very smart by hooking into the collectors who are interested in Barbie as icon and Barbie being reinvented, with all these like, women of science, great women of history, great women, Barbies, fan focused Barbies from major blockbuster films, artists, or like the fashion designers who do like, their fashion haute couture Barbies. Like, I think that that's very that's a part of her too. And I think that now that she sort of has both of those things as her legacy, I think that that helps, because it's not that you need to have one or the other. She needs to be there for both groups. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's she's more than just a doll. And so she needs to be able to be like a doll that's a blank slate for kids to put their imagination on, but she also needs to have something that's rooted for people to continue on with her.
She's a muse.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a fashion muse. Yeah. I mean, and I would say like even before the Barbie movie, there have been, and I actually did a TikTok about this, that, movies that give Barbie vibes. And I mentioned Legally Blonde earlier, but Legally Blonde, Elle Woods is like absolutely a Barbie.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think Barbie is just really stepping into her own as, I mean, she has been stepping into her own for a while, but I think that now, especially as, we move away from those antiquated ideas of what Barbie is. I mean, I know men who are Barbie collectors. You know, I know some dudes who, you know, have Barbies. I think that as we've moved away from those antiquated sort of roles that Barbie needs to have, now Barbie really can be anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Even more than anything, not just career anything, but anything, anything.
Anything. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh my God, Cecil. Well, thank you so much for coming onto my podcast and having this really wonderful conversation. I always love talking to you. This was great. Um, uh, Really quick before we wrap up, where can people find you on social media? And what projects are you currently working on, or do you have out there that you would like people to know about?
You can find me on Twitter at Miss Cecil, if Twitter still exists when this happens, who knows? Instagram at Cecil Seaskull, and you know, Cecil Castellucci .com is my website. I don't know. You can Google me. I'm not that hard to find. My newest book, like you said, is Shifting Earth, and it's out on Burger Books, and it's about a botanist on a near future Earth who gets pulled over to a parallel Earth that has all the kinds of resilient and robust seeds that we could use to rewild our Earth. But how will she get home? So that's my newest thing that just came out. I also did the Critical Role. If anybody likes Critical Role, I did the Mighty Nine Origins for Yasha Nadoran. So there's that just came out as well. And then I'm working on original graphic novel that you know, it's like a creator-owned original graphic novel, but I don't know when that's going to come out. So, and I have Star Wars Hyperspace. I have four issues that I'm doing for that. It's a 12-issue series with me, Amanda Diebert, and Michael Morrissey. I've done Luke and Leia, Poe and Finn. I have Jabba and Greedo coming out, and then one more. So that's been really, really fun.
That is so cool. Dude, I love the work that you do. Also, just like knowing a little after this conversation and knowing a little bit about your childhood play and creating sci-fi stuff, I'm like, of course she grew up to be this amazing like sci-fi writer. This totally makes sense.
Because I had my Barbie dating the Bionic Man.
Yes. And actually, you know what's funny is that one of the things that I did as a child, which I think is why I became a journalist, is that I would interview my Barbies. I literally would like I was Oprah. So like as a kid, I was like, I want to be Oprah. And so they were on my talk show. So this is just recreating play.
Just remembering something that I had my mom make me a Princess Leia dress for my Barbie.
Really? Oh my God, that's adorable.
So I had that as well for my Barbie. So yeah, so you know, it was sci-fi, it was in the bones, in the Barbie bones.
In the Barbie bones, in the plastic.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was always great talking with you.
I love this. Thank you. All right. Well, that is the end of our show. And I will see you guys next time. You could definitely find me on Instagram at Real Escape Barbie or Isabel S. Dieppa. You could also find me on Twitter at Isabel S. Dieppa and on this YouTube channel, which if you have not subscribed, you should totally subscribe. Thanks and see you for the next one.